I'm a lumberjack, and I'm okay. Just got out the shower, cooling down from overheating. Went hard for about an hour and a half with the chainsaw. Got 3 or 4 trees down, one of them partially segmented. Done for the day. Sun's coming out full, it's getting hot, humidity's ramping up as all that rain evaporates out of the ground. Very thankful that my house did not flood. Otherwise, today's would be completely wasted with the shop vac and monitoring and stress. And, I got a video uploading that'll, I don't know if it'll make it up before this or not, but it was my daily update from yesterday, some shenanigans, the work situation, but I think things are going to be okay. Pick your poison, it's going to be stress no matter what, I guess, at this point. Simultaneously, been engaged in some, I don't want to say comment battling. It's not exactly fighting here on this platform on Karlin Borisenko's channel. I kind of reserved my judgment at first until I started seeing what she was talking about. And I agree now completely that what she's warning about is happening. There's a lot of people that are coming at her comment section making some statements that, while partially true, are not completely true, and they ignore a lot of context. And this is coming from a crowd that are, shall we say, purporting to be of a political persuasion that it would otherwise insist on full context and facts over feelings. But these people are, in fact, a different subset. And they are exactly what she is saying that they are. A lot of dog whistles going on in those comments. You let them know that you know exactly what they're doing, and you outline how it is that they're attempting to manipulate you into their trickery, and it's all like gang recruitment and some pretty well-known, well-documented techniques that some groups whose names I'm not even going to utter use to try and attract people, but we'll call it racial solidarity. It gets used on all sides. It's being used in everywhere. So the problem is that the target of her criticism is CRT. The claims that these other people are making that it is anti-white, and the thing that she is saying, which I agree with completely at this point, is that it is anti-everybody. It's kind of like in some of those Tom McDonald songs where he talks about it, they make it out to be black versus white, but it's the system versus everyone. And what's happening is these people are basically confirming their own bias by going, yep, see, it's about white people. It's like, no, you don't understand. White people are the scapegoat for a bigger thing, and just right now, that's what it is. Eventually, it's going to move to a different race. It's going to be other people. It's just as anti-black as it is anti-white. It's just in a different way. Now, they're right there. You've got this Duplo, Nubby, Cran mindset that these folks have that as soon as they strike gold for what they think is, see, it's proof that there's an anti-white component. Yeah, it's a component. It's an aspect. But the thing is, the anti-black aspect is not conducted in the same way. It is not an identical, like, the yin and the yang, the two identical halves kind of thing, but mirrored or whatever. Very few things are that simple. And to assume that things are that simple just says something about the simple-mindedness of the individuals that are purveying this nonsense. So really what it is that you're fostering an unhealthy mentality in one group while blaming another group for the issues that unhealthy mentality also helps bring about. But in both cases, neither group is actually, as a whole, at fault for either. It's the system doing it. And by the system, I mean, it's whether it's school boards that are choosing this or the news media, that obviously that is part of the system at this point. It's an inverted totalitarian system. The corporate interests are basically making the rules, and the government's like, well, I mean, my private company can't do nothing about it. I've said crypto-fascism so many times. So basically, the concern that a lot of people had that they expressed vocally 6, 9, 10, 12 months ago or more about that has been memory hold. You remember memory holding? There's all these different techniques that they use to take inconvenient truths and unpleasant realities that people won't let go away, and they try and just bury it under other stuff. That would be like I did the Biden impression and the Putin impression on Shorts videos several days ago, and then that storm came along that I did like 10 or 12 videos on, and it just and too many shorts about other things or whatever. Like I've got the the one about Trench's dog Maple. I've got my new, which by the way, check out my Brian Stelter impression. I've got the Stelter impression. I've got the surprise lilies. Basically, what it would mean is that if I wanted the Putin and Biden impressions to stay on the front page of my channel page, I would have to stop doing shorts and just let them sit there. But because I create content as I feel like making it, these other contents come out and they kind of shuffle it along down the line until eventually it doesn't show up in the lineup. Although you may still catch it in the algorithm. What I'm getting at is, and sorry I'm shaky, but I've been chainsawing for an hour. The problem that's been predicted so long ago was that there has been an anti-white component, not a movement, not an entire theory or whatever, just a component of this other grander scheme that, under the auspices of empowering black people by giving them victim mentality and telling them it's all somebody else's fault, which is just fostering narcissism. And that came about in some of the comments. Somebody said, oh no, black people have the highest cultural narcissism. It's like, dude, okay, so you're saying you're not a white supremacist, but you just blame something on black people for being black. And you're proving CRT to be correct, that they've been oppressed, while your argument is that they're not oppressed and it's anti-white. But Carlin's whole thing is that it's anti-everybody, including anti-black, for that reason. That's what's going on. Or the inside of their head is just the whole time. I don't know. So my point is, if you demonize one group for long enough, that group's going to end up coming up with some sort of a solidarity to cope with it. And that's what's happening. And the problem is that there are legitimate people of the far, far right that have been very few in number up to this point and very much in hiding. And I've always said, don't drive them underground. That just, it makes it easier for them to hide out. Let them be out in public. Let them show their ass so that everybody can see. In the comment section of Carlin's last couple of videos, that's definitely been the case. I personally have managed to draw out a few of them that I just, by my non-answers and some goofy little mind trickery of my own, have gotten them to pretty much flat out all but say that they are of this demographic. And like I said, I don't even want to say it. If I say what these people are, it's an N and an N for a lot of it. It's a W and an S for a lot of it. It's a 3 of the letter K sometimes. It is what I would call the 1488 crew. And you got to look up the 14 words in the 8th letter of the alphabet twice in a row, what that means to these people. They're not admitting it. They're keeping it covert. But that's the other thing. See, Carlin is a psychologist, and what's basically happening is the narcissists are being drawn out, as it were. Except this is not quite that, right? But a lot of this, it's anti-white, we need solid. Some of that is narcissistic injury in a nutshell, of making a bigger deal about something than it really is to keep the center of focus on yourself. And the center of focus is not any one individual group. It's all the groups that are being affected. That's why when they say anti-racism is basically racism against everyone, and that's why it's bad. You shouldn't be racist towards anyone. So I've been engaged in some of that. I'm not like making it my purpose or anything like that. It's just a thing that I've come across that I've realized is in fact a sad reality, that there are people that are effectively useful idiots that are, no, but they're right though. And it's like, okay, but I mean, they're right on some things, but they're omitting a lot, and a lie of omission is still a lie. So, anyways, that's where it is. Cutting down trees that have already died so I can stack them out for firewood, trying to take advantage of days where the humidity's not quite so bad, and get this stuff out the way. Unfortunately, seems like I'm moving toward the reality of these dreams I had for many years of a bare hillside. A lot of elm trees, or not elm, ash trees. We got the emerald ash borer. All these trees have a bazillion woodpecker holes in them where the woodpeckers have gone after these bugs that get in and under feed on the tender spot between the bark and the wood itself, and it kills the tree. And then basically this is why I was saying before that these trees in the part one of my nature walk, which eventually I'll get part two loaded. There are 5 total parts on that. It seeps the water out of the trees while they're standing, which basically seasons them in place. So that's why it's basically burnable already. So I've got like 5 or 6 of these trees down. And I'm just kind of working on having firewood, and it's, depending on how the work shenanigans go, it's definitely going to be good to make sure that I've got enough wood for fire, and God forbid I run out of gas or don't have the means for electricity or water or whatever, that if I've got to do any outdoor stuff or whatever for cooking, that I've got what I need to get by on that. I really hope that's not the case, but be prepared, right? So anyway, as far as this other thing goes, yeah, there's definitely an issue. There's definitely a new movement kind of forming. And most of the people in it don't seem to realize that they are part of it. They are in denial. And there are other people that are amongst that group in denial who are not, in fact, in denial. And those people are the ones who are fostering it. They bring this vocabulary from this particular dude's page with the movement. And, you don't have to have... It's okay. It's kind of the same thing as like racism and anti-racism, and it's like, you need to understand that the actual meaning of antithesis is antithesis. It's an opposite point. It's not the opposite of the point. It's another point that is diametrically or polar opposite, right? It's the white dot and the black dot are both dots inside each other's color on the yin-yang, right? That's what anti refers to. So when you have racist and anti-racist, they're both racist, but they're on opposite points within opposite colors or whatever. It's a crude metaphor, I'm sorry. The polar opposite, the other dot and the other color, as it were, of white guilt is white pride. And that's dangerous because white people are in the majority or a large plurality in this country. They are oftentimes very privileged. There's no denying that. It doesn't mean that every single white person possesses privilege and every single thing that ever happens is because of that. That in itself is a cop-out. That's really weak. There's no logic to it. This is the kind of stuff that narcissistic projection and narcissistic injury from any demographic is prone to use when people are pushed into this. And the honest thing is, if you look at Richard Grannon, you look at Scott Adams, you look at a lot of different people who analyze the society, the culture, the news, all this stuff, they are all coming around to the realization, or have already long since come to the realization, that what social media and this insane narrative and the fake news and the tribalization, polarization, all of it is doing is it is fostering a type of narcissism amongst all these people. It's this weird groupthink thing. But ultimately you get all of these people that the nature of the human mind is to... There's a certain level of solipsism. No matter what you do, you have what is called a self, an ego. This does not mean, I am... What it means is you have a point of reference for your own body with regard to your environment. This is kind of like self-awareness is understanding the relationship between, as far as cause and effect and things like that. As to a person with no self-awareness is like the bull in the china shop, just crashing through stuff and not really considering anything about the consequences of their actions or what effect they're having, just whatever caused the bull to go on the rampage. So... yeah, it's really dangerous. It is really, really dangerous. This is an unfortunate thing because when this reaches a mainstream media audience, unfortunately, because the mainstream media is part of the problem, they're going to try and further scapegoat white people. And then these other people with their like I said, I don't want to say I don't people that take after past dictators, people that like to co-opt the Indian symbol for peace and use it to symbolize their supposed master race or whatever. Neo. Basically are helping push this. It's turning people into this, and it's like a lot of them really don't seem to realize that it's being done to them, just like everything else. It's just gargantuan psyop, and once you thought you had a handle on the last batch of manipulation and just about are ready to wake people up to it, an avalanche of this new nonsense comes in and buries it, just like a memory hole. And I believe it's intentional. It seems like there is, if it's not a standalone complex, because what a complex that would be, It seems like it's a concerted effort to continually perplex and confuse people, because the more confused you are, the easier it is to spin your mind around and manipulate you into something else. You think, well, I got to do the opposite of this because so-and-so said that, and pretty soon you're going against your own interest just because somebody told you that somebody said something. It's manipulation. So I say to thee, stay woke. Not in the woke ideology, in the eyes open. Pay attention. Look at what's happening. Make sure that you do not fall into it. That's all I can say. Because this isn't about particular races, groups, or demographics. This is about all of us as the individuals who are basically ruled by this system, however you want to look at it. That's effectively what it comes down to, one way or the other, no matter how you want to redress it or rename it or whatever. That there's the unfortunate effect of a far left movement. Swing one way, swing the other way. And because this other movement is comprised of people who are of a demographic that is significantly larger and a plurality that almost equals all of the others put together, if that group decides to go in that direction and enough people get suckered into that, you have a bona fide race war on your hands, and that's not what any of us want. So anyways, yeah, it's been very interesting. It's very disturbing what I've been seeing, but also I get kind of a kick out of tricking these people into exposing exactly what they're all about. And what I mean by that is, if you want to know whether this person that you're arguing with is some potential skinhead pretending to be something else, as soon as you disagree with them enough, they ask, "Are you Jewish?" Well, what kind of a question is that? Who would ask that? Think about it. I shouldn't have to answer that. You should already know. So, cut it short. We got almost 17 minutes, just passing it up, and I'm not trying to do another big one because this ain't even going to be uploaded until tomorrow or something at this rate. But I had to get this off of my chest. It's a dire situation. It's not a no-win at this point for that, but the precipice is so narrow, and it is so easy for people to fall off. The only thing I can think is learn to climb, learn to fly.